Hello everyone, welcome to the channel of MeteoMark Weather. Hope everybody's had a good week. We're going to take a look at all the problems associated with this tropical wave across Central America. We're going to be looking at this wave that's going to be propagating from Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Costa Rica, these areas. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but models are also hinting at another tropical wave action across the eastern and eventually the western Caribbean here as we stretch through the middle of the month. And this is what we're going to be looking at over the next several days across Central America. This massive blob of moisture associated with this tropical wave is going to cause major problems from Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, and all the way up to Belize. And over the next couple days, we're going to be watching this massive blob of snow associated with this clipper, along with a lake effect enhanced snow behind it as well over the next couple days. We'll see which areas are going to see the most snow. Let's get into it. All right, so we'll start off here with the GFS, and you can see our system here just pummeling across Nicaragua and Costa Rica. These areas we're going to start seeing towards 4 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon towards Honduras. Look at this heavy moisture that really starts to billow up here, especially the northern coastline of Honduras where that rain really tends to get hung up. And I'm going to go over those rainfall amounts momentarily, but you could be looking at 150, 250 millimeters, 5 to 10 inches easily. And then towards Belize as we head on into December 7th. So this is mainly as we head on into the 6th, into the 7th, as we head towards Thursday into Friday. We're really going to be getting on the act of this Saturday as well towards Belize. Thankfully, it does start to move out here by the 8th, but I caution you because yeah, it looks quiet behind this. We do have a front up here in the Gulf of Mexico, you can see. But watch over here. We have a tail end of a front up towards the Virgin Islands and Lesser Antilles. Now look what starts to happen. We do start to get some energy trying to form here around the 11th. And this is really bizarre. This is a big old Bermuda high sitting off of North America in the middle of December 11th. So this system does try to get something spinning up here towards Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. And look at that. It makes a beeline right for Jamaica around the middle part of December with heavy rains and gusty winds. And then look at this. Trying to develop a low-level circulation just off the Yucatan Peninsula here towards the 18th with high pressure off the southeast coast here. So that would continue to steer it into the Gulf of Mexico. This is crazy for mid-December, but here we are. So here we are with the European model. There's our system initializing over Costa Rica here and Nicaragua. And then right up to Honduras as we head on into Thursday and into Friday here, the 5th into the 6th. That's where the heaviest rain is going to fall. System is being steered by pretty much high pressure well to the north. And then these winds coming out of the east here as well, pushing it to the west ever so slowly, unfortunately. And there it is hanging up along the North Honduras coastline here as we head throughout Friday. And on into Saturday, we get those heavy moisture plumes. And finally, towards, say, the 10th, it kind of fizzles out here. Unfortunately, our European product, we kind of lose the precipitation on this after hour 144, but you get the idea. Look what's brewing over here. Without our precipitation overlay, you can see it. We're trying to initialize something even here on the European model towards December 13th. Thanks to tropical tidbits for our mid-layer dry air and moist air analysis here as we continue. Yeah, there's some dry air up here across the northwestern Gulf, but look at in the Caribbean here. But look at here into parts of Central America. Yeah, you got some dry air hanging out to the east, but watch what happens as we go out here in time. That system rides north towards Honduras as we head on into the 5th, into the 6th. And then behind it, we try to get some dry air, but look at, for this time of year, we have a lot of moist tropical air around, and that kind of pivots. Look at this. This is some massive tropical moisture from the Pacific heading all the way up into the United States, Texas, Louisiana area towards Monday, December 9th. That's with a big system. And then we get a little bit more rain here, but watch this. This is that system I was talking about trying to develop here. Yeah, there's a lot of dry air out ahead of it that it has to overcome. But this could be some sort of subtropical system here as we head through December 16th into the 17th, we may actually have a named tropical system trying to form here across the Caribbean and eventually into the Gulf. And you want to see it on the European model here. There's our first system, just creating torrential rain here across Honduras and Central America. But look at this. Good news is some dry air forms in behind it. Now let's just fast forward this a bit. Here's the 9th into the 10th. Lots of dry air, but there it is. Both models are initializing this system just to the east and northeast of the Lesser Antilles here, bringing it through. Europeans closing off the low sooner than the GFS, and then kind of weakens it a bit as with dry air, and then it does start to re-strengthen it towards Jamaica and the Cayman Islands right here in this area, very elongated as we head through December 18th. So this is something we got to keep a watch on. And you're probably wondering, well, it's December. How warm can these sea surface temperatures be? Well, look at this. The Caribbean, the Gulf is still well above average. We're talking about 2 to as much as 4, some areas 5 degrees Celsius above average. That is crazy for this time of year. And heading to the Caribbean here, there's our rainfall amounts on our European model over. This takes us through the weekend into Monday. I just want to show you something here across Honduras. Let me do the cursor thing here. Look at this. 266 millimeters, 257. Yeah, so there is some tremendous rain heading towards Honduras, even southern Belize here. So 150 to 250 millimeters gets you up towards 5 to 10 inches, even down here into Costa Rica and the coastline of Nicaragua. But Honduras, especially coastal north coast there, is the worrisome spot. And let's take a look at the GFS here. There we go. So just stretching through. This actually takes us through the middle of the month with that second tropical wave spinning out here that we'll have to watch. But look at this. Yeah, GFS is a little bit less. A little bit more just off the coast. We'll have to watch that trend, but this is still a lot. We're talking about 150, 200 millimeters, 5, 7, maybe 8 inches. And before I continue with more weather coverage, don't forget, if you like this video and you made it this far, smash that like button, everyone. It really does help. Question or comment down below. I love to read your questions or comments. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe bell notification button so you're alerted with all my future weather video updates. And if you haven't watched my winter 2024-2025 Outlook, it's a link in the description down below and at the end of this video. So if you haven't, be sure to check it out. Let's continue. And I just wanted to draw your attention over here to Jamaica, the Cayman Islands. You're pretty well dry for the most part. But look at as we stretch towards the middle of the month. Yeah, with that tropical wave or potential tropical system, the atmosphere is really going to be becoming tropical again. I know it's cooled down quite a bit. Got a little bit more cooler rain. But yeah, the tropical air might be on the rise again towards the middle of the month as we get that tropical wave propagating. And higher rainfall totals as well, especially on the eastern part of the island. Look at this. This is quite interesting. This takes us through Friday into Saturday. Look at the eastern tip of Jamaica here. 100 millimeters. That's up towards 4 inches. And then out in time here, up towards 400 millimeters. While the western part of the island's barely anything, towards 13 millimeters. So that's a microclimate working here with our tropical wave that comes out of the east. And I just wanted to go back here on the European model and just briefly show this to you. There it is. It's showing up on a little bit lesser extent here on the European, but that northeastern part of Jamaica is where we'll be focusing some very heavy rain over the next several days. And heading on into the eastern Caribbean here, look what's going on. Not a whole lot through Monday here. Maybe some showers, 25 to 45 millimeters. Nothing more than, say, a quarter to a half an inch. Northern coast of Hispaniola over towards the Turks and Caicos. These areas, you might actually see some appreciable rain here. Anywhere from, say, 80 to 125 millimeters. It'll get you up towards, say, 3-4 inches. But here's the GFS. Watch this. Here we go. Yeah, look at this. Towards the middle of the month, 12th, 13th, 14th. Look what really starts to happen here. We're going to keep an eye on this. 100, 200 millimeters in some of these locations. So as we take a look at our future radar here, yeah, we're starting off with some big-time lake effect snow as we head on into Tuesday night and Wednesday coming off Lake Erie here. That's hitting, Cattaraugus, Chautauqua counties over here. over by Jamestown and just west of Olean. That's going to lift north throughout the night into Buffalo and the suburbs there, because what's going to be happening is we got this big clipper type system dropping down here from the lake. So we're going to watch this kind of conglomerate over the next couple of days. So watch what's going to be happening here. And this takes us into the morning hours of Wednesday. So you can see most of the snow's up here in southern Ontario and northern Michigan. But we do start to get some light snow breaking out here across Lake Erie. And that fills in around Cleveland here towards 2 p.m. Now, initially, accumulations will be pretty marginal here. Because temperatures will be at or just above freezing in these areas. Some bursts of snow up here towards the Adirondacks and the Tug Hill, Mohawk Valley of New York as well. And then look how things really start to fill in. Unfortunately, there's going to be a tremendous amount of wind with this system as well. So we could see 40, 50 mile per hour gusts at times associated with this system as it blasts in. And what you're going to start seeing here along the front is this. It's going to be like a snow squall line here. You can kind of pick it out here around 9 p.m. It's going to be moving through the Cleveland area, Dayton. This is where you could see just west of Buffalo here. This is where you could see snow accumulations of 1 to 2 inches an hour. Now, out ahead of it, you get these bursts of heavier snow and wind, and it's going to be really blustery as well. So all areas are going to pick up a minimum of like 1 to 3 inches from this. However, in these snowbelt areas where we get these intensifying snowfall bands, you can kind of make out some of these lake effect bands towards Erie and the Buffalo, up towards Rochester and Watertown, New York. These are going to blast in here, and this is 7 a.m. on Thursday morning. So we got these lake streamers just coming off around Cleveland, Erie, and on up just north of Syracuse here, and some looks like some kind of maybe Georgian Bay connection trying to develop up here off of two lakes here. So we'll have to watch for that. But look what really starts to happen. It's going to be a northwesterly type flow that really sets up here. And the wind's going to be howling all into the Thursday here, 6 p.m. Look at those winds just howling off the lakes here as these streamers just continue. So snowfall amounts here on our European model. You can see where all the snowfall is going to be at least through next Monday here. Look at this. Snowfall piling up with that clipper and lake effect snow machine kicking in as well. Those areas where we got some watches and warnings, we could be seeing 4 to 8 plus inches of snowfall with a general 1 to 3 inches outside those snow belts. And looking at the GFS snowfall here, this takes us just through the weekend. You can see these snowfall totals. I'll be zooming in on these momentarily, by the way, so you can see them a little bit better. But look at this as we go out here in time. Any large-scale snowfall areas, there is a little chance as we head through the 13th into the 14th, and then a bigger chance as we head through the 19th into the 20th here. So watch some of these areas. We may have some snow kicking up even across the plains here. But look at out west, Pacific Northwest. That is where in my winter outlook I said you would get tremendous snow this winter. And here we are starting. And snowfall zoomed in for the Northeast. I'm going to show you the NAM 3 kilometer first because this really narrows things down quite a bit. It takes us through Friday morning just before sunrise here. So there it is, a general 1 to 3 inches in most areas here. But it's these northwest favored snowbelts, these winds out of the northwest, where northwest Pennsylvania, southwestern New York, just north of Syracuse here towards Oswego County, Lewis and Jefferson counties, Erie County over here, Chautauqua County, Cattaraugus County, Warren County, Crawford County over here. These areas is where you're going to see these snowfall amounts pile up, closer to the 8 to 12, maybe 16 inches. And if we take a look at the European run, here it is with our clipper, and then that lake effect kicking in behind it. A little bit more widespread. You can see Cleveland eking out about 3.5 inches here, especially on the northeast side of Cleveland. Erie towards 8 to 10 inches. Buffalo about 6 inches. Syracuse about 5. And then keeping a lot of this 12 to 16 inches plus just north of Syracuse, depending on the flow here. And then look at this. You do see most of these areas outside of these bands getting about 1 to 3 inches of snow. And here's our GFS run. There we go. This takes us through the weekend there. So look at this. GFS going crazy across northeast Ohio here, northwestern Pennsylvania, western New York, and northern New York with tremendous snow, 6 to 12 inches widespread here in the purple. These darker maroon colors down here are into the 12 to 16. And you know, with these lake effect plumes, there's always going to be some of those areas that hit 20 to 30 inches. That's not out of the question here. And look at this. I wanted to draw your attention over here across parts of New England. You could see a couple inches here with several inches in some of these Berkshires, White and Green Mountains. So watch out. You might get a dusting. It's kind of hinting to a dusting out here on western Long Island too. We'll see if that materializes. And I don't want to leave you out here. The other trouble spot, look at that, it's off the coast here. I know you need some rain around the Carolinas here, especially eastern North Carolina. Let's see if we can get that. It just doesn't look like it's going to happen here if it'll actually load. Wow, our systems really don't want to load on this program. There we go. So as we go in time here, look at this. All this moisture stays off the southeast coast, unfortunately. But look at here. I don't want to leave you out here in Texas and Louisiana as we head throughout the night into the early morning hours of Wednesday. Here you can see this plume of moisture just bubbling up here towards Houston. San Antonio, it'll be overnight, but look at this as we head towards late morning on Wednesday. Those showers and thunderstorms heading up towards Dallas, up towards Shreveport, and eventually into Louisiana as we head into the overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And then it kind of fizzles out here towards the north central Gulf. So, you know, this time of year, I always like to look at this product. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly map. So it's more than just warm versus cold. This is, you know, ridges versus troughs. And this gives us a really good idea to see what's going on upstairs in the atmosphere. So look at this. As we head towards the 5th into the 6th, you can see that big trough pinwheeling across eastern North America. But look what's starting out west here. This is one of those omega massive ridges here. And that does start to push out our ridge, or our trough, I should say, here across the eastern part of North America. And that is going to, you know, for you snow lovers, it's unfortunately going to replace it with a ridge next week as we get into next week. Now let's switch over to the GFS. So here it is on the GFS. We're just continuing to go out here in time. And you can see as we get on into the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th, this raging Inferno firecracker ridge really sets up shop across the East Coast. Now, we do get a few systems that roll through about the middle of the month here, but look at this. Yeah, is this going to be a thing this winter? Because this is what happened the last couple winters, and you almost see that starting. I know a lot of you are wondering, okay, we're getting a little taste of winter right now, but is it going to last? So picking up where our feature radar left off here, let's just progress here. There is that big low pressure system cutting off. That's associated with the Clipper system that's going to be combining with this upper level low. And that is going to help just pinwheel all this lake enhanced snowfall here as we head through Friday as well there. You can see the northwest flow. That's going to be heading up into the Canadian Maritimes, and I'll talk about that in the Canadian weather outlook in just several minutes here. But look at this. As we head on into the weekend, things look pretty quiet for the most part. I mean, this return flow of high pressure system near Texas, we're going to continue to watch for this rain. Some snow showers continuing up here into the North Country. But for the most part, exception for the snow belts, you're going to be looking much better here. Now, look at this. We do get a surge of warm air next week, heading on to the 9th into the 10th. This looks like an all-rain event. So this low pressure moving up through the plains into the western Great Lakes. You do see another system waiting in the wings here. Unfortunately, this has been the pattern the last couple winters where we do see these Colorado lows move up like this, and you know what that means. Warm air pushes up from the southwest, and that gets us into this rainfall into the 11th on into the 12th. This next low pressure system riding well up into the Great Lakes as well, pushing all that wintry precipitation north into Canada with plenty of rain here across the east here as we head on into December 12th on into the 13th. That pushes off the coastline here into the 14th with high pressure building in for the most part. Florida, South Texas are the only areas that look like precipitation. And look at this. For snow lovers across the east, it's not looking good with another system dive bombing here across Colorado and heading right up through the Great Lakes. This has been the broken record pattern that's been very difficult for the last couple winters here to break. And look at that. This system looks more Clipper-like, but it's still tapping into some very warm air as we stretch on into December 17th. All right, so our liquid equivalent through Monday here on our European model, you can see, wow, look at eastern Texas and Louisiana, upwards of 2 to 4+ inches of rain. Liquid equivalent up through the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast. These snow belt areas, we could be looking at 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, with some areas 1 to as much as 1.5 inches of liquid equivalent. Also, some storms barreling into the Pacific Northwest here. So for our Canadian weather outlook here, we're starting off with that Canadian storm here. Let's just start off with Wednesday. So southern Ontario and Quebec, you got that upper level low combining forces with a clipper. Out in the west coast, we have a little system waiting offshore here, bringing in some lighter precipitation. There's that Canadian low maritime just bombing out over here towards Thursday into Friday. So that heads out with plenty of snow here in southeastern provinces. Lots of wind as well across New Brunswick, Quebec, Prince Edward Island, over to Newfoundland here. There over towards the Labrador Sea. Look at this. This is quiet weather setting in. We do have a clipper, very high riding clipper here that will produce snow here across parts of eastern and southeastern Ontario, western Quebec as we head on into the weekend. Then another system moves across the United States here, brings some snow on the northern side here. That's why I think Ontario and Quebec stand a chance to see some above average snowfall this winter. If you haven't watched my snow outlook, my winter outlook, it is a link in the description down below. So be sure to check that out. And look at that. Bursts of heavier snow across southern Quebec and Ontario as we head on into next week. But look at it, does get a little bit quiet here into the central sections. Let me just zoom out a bit because it's going to be the west coast here, mountain snow valley rain as that next system plows in. But look at here across southern Ontario and Quebec. We have another system pushing up from the United States. It's going to bring some warmer air up, but that also brings up a lot of moisture with heavy snow. So there you have it. Even more heavy snow over towards Prince Edward Island, over towards the Canadian Maritimes as we head through December 13th. And look at this. These systems from the United States just keep pushing up like this, so it'll keep providing with snowfall here across eastern Canada. And as we continue through the middle of the month here into the 16th, into the 17th, things are looking much more active west coast and here across Ontario and Quebec. You're going to be hitting jackpots as far as snowfall totals. So for our Canadian liquid precipitation amounts here, as we stretch through, we're going to just take this through as far as the European will take us here. So as we head through December 9th here, that's a good range. You can see here across Western Canada, especially the coastline of British Columbia, that's where you're talking about amounts, 100, 150, upwards of 175 millimeters. That'll get you up towards 4, 5, maybe 6 inches liquid equivalent. Here across Southeast Canada, we're also looking at pretty much the same here. We're looking at 30, 40, 50, some areas 60 millimeters here, getting you up towards 1/2, 3/4, 1 inch. If we look at our snowfall amounts here, this is going to be the big story across Canada. Yeah, you know the mountains of the west coast of British Columbia over here. They're going to see, in excess of 40, 60 centimeters plus. It's going to be crazy amounts. 1, 2, 3 feet plus. But look at here across eastern Canada, from the central prairies all the way to southeastern Canada, these purple areas, 20 to 35 centimeter widespread here. So you're going to get some warning criteria snowfall here, several inches to a foot in some areas. All right, so for the Western Pacific, initially, we don't have a whole lot going on here. Philippines look dry initially, but I want to draw your attention as we get towards the 6th here. Look at this out here. Watch this feature well east of the Philippines. Of course, typhoon season's pretty much over here up towards Japan, South Korea, and Shanghai, China. But look at this. We do start to get some potential development as we head through the 8th into the 9th. Yeah, look at this. We may actually have a tropical storm, maybe even a low-end typhoon affecting parts of southern Philippines here as we stretch on into the 10th, the 11th, and on into the 12th. And that pushes towards Vietnam as we head towards the 12th and the 13th. So yeah, tropical season, typhoon season really never truly ends here across the Western Pacific. It kind of tones down a bit, but it's not unheard of to get some of these big spin-ups this time of year. We'll keep an eye on it here. And before we continue with more weather, check out these awesome, amazing maps that you won't find anywhere else.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so let's take a look at temperatures here for your Wednesday. Look at the cold air across the northern plains into the northeast, 30s and 40s, even some teens and 20s here in North Dakota and Minnesota. That's normal for this time of year. But look at warm air holding on to the deep south here with 60s into the 70s. Watch what happens, though. This big front here associated with this clipper and this upper low across southeast Canada. We get some 20s down into the Ohio Valley here, even into northern Kentucky, Appalachians as well. Watch this pivot to the east, but short-lived. Look what's coming. Yeah, this is unfortunately for you snow lovers. This is going to erode confidence in any snowfall, especially through the next week or two. You can see this cold air retreating as 40s and 50s make their way across the Ohio Valley into the northeast to the raging inferno furnace firecracker weather that we've been talking about the last couple of winters. Seems to be starting back up. But look at this. The seesaw starts as we warm it up back east here. We push it down out west here into the northern plains. Could this be another cooling trend? It looks like it. Reloading for some more Arctic air that may try to plummet south. This is Monday, December 9th. But look at this, 50s and 40s all the way up into the eastern Great Lakes and the northeast Ohio Valley and the mid-Atlantic into the 60s. Extended forecast from our hometown viewers, Binghamton, Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. Yeah, as we head into Wednesday, the wind is going to howl and kick up, especially later in the afternoon and evening. Snow showers developing. It will make it up towards the mid-30s, but look at this. Wednesday night into Thursday, snow showers. We could see 1 to 2 inches. Blustery conditions. Winds could be gusting up to 30, 45 miles an hour. And Friday, it gets cooler behind this frontal boundary with some scattered lake effect snow showers. But look at this. As we head towards the weekend, conditions do start to warm. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks everyone. Share that video, subscribe if you haven't, smash that like button.